Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Elena and today we're setting up my 2021 life bullet journal. So these pages that you're seeing right here, unfortunately my camera did not record me doing these pages, so we're going to pick up on the last one. But essentially what I decided for this year to make my life a bit easier was to pick a theme that I would have throughout the year. And so I decided to go with Disney, simply because Disney makes me happy and I love Disney, so really no other reason. These few spreads that you're seeing me do, they're spreads that I have at the very beginning of my bullet journal, and they're before any of the monthly spreads that will come ahead, and they're mostly just to have like an overview of the year. They're pertaining to subjects that will be important throughout the entire year and not just localized to a single month. And so for these pages I decided to just try and go with a very generalized Disney theme. So a lot of Mickey heads and a lot of red and black, but I also decided to use this gold and black washi tape to decorate, which looking back I do think it made it look a little bit too Christmassy, but it's fine because I still love the way they turned out. So the font that I'm using is printouts that I did from my laptop and then cut up. The font is from dafont.com. I do not own the rights to this font in the slightest, but I just thought it'd be easier to do it this way rather than me trying to recreate the actual font myself, which just felt too challenging at the time. So here we're moving on to the first time I'm using this spread. So I figured for this year I would pick a Disney movie or princess for each month. And so to make my life a bit easier and less stressful when it came to setting up each month, I decided to have a layout of all of the months and pre-plan which movie was going to go in each month. And so this is what I'm doing here. I've already decided which movies I've picked. I've got a printout of either screenshots of the opening of the movie or posters, just pictures I found online really. Others I took screenshots of the actual movie, so don't tell anybody. And then underneath I'm gonna have a color palette for each of the month, which is also something I struggle a little bit coming up with sometimes, because sometimes you just don't feel very inspired. So I just wanted to make my life a bit less stressful this year. So this is what you see me doing here. So here you can see me quickly correcting a small mistake I made. I accidentally wrote June instead of March, and so I'm going to quickly rectify that before I move on to my color palettes. The truth is, I am rubbish when it comes to pre-planning what kind of colors I want to use for each spread. So I thought, the idea being with this spread to pre-plan the year ahead, that I would try to have an overall idea of what kind of colors I'd like to use with each theme. Seeing as sometimes I do tend to draw a little bit of a blank or get a bit overwhelmed by the amount of art supplies that I own. So whilst you see me swatch every colour 500 times, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the movies I decided to pick for this year. The truth is, it was difficult. I had to narrow down a very extensive list into 12 selections. And even by narrowing it down to my favourites, I still had a fair few more than just 12. But in the end, I'm quite happy with the movies I picked, with the exception of maybe one where I'm having very mixed feelings, and that one being Peter Pan. Truth is, I haven't watched this film since I was a kid, and so I had a very naive, nostalgic idea of what it was. And rewatching it with an adult's eye to make the March spread, seeing as it is March as I'm recording this, one tends to notice certain things that a kid might not. And so I ended up realizing how problematic the movie was. But I will go into further detail when I do the voiceover for the March spreads, seeing as I don't want to really get into that now. Other than that, I don't really have any particular reason as to what movie goes for what month. Looking back, I would have liked to have put a little bit more thought into my selections, seeing as I would have loved to use, for example, Princess and the Frog for the Black History Month. But, you learn as you go, and I'll know best next time. Other than it feels right, my decisions into which movie goes into each month were very, very deprived of thought. It didn't go far beyond the fact that, for example, Frozen is about snow and ice, and January is a cold month. Or I was into a bit of a Frozen obsession when I did the spread, and January was my birthday month, so I thought I'm gonna make Frozen for January. So as you can see, there's really not that much thought put into this. So just enjoy the madness. Another thing I wanted to add about the movies I picked for these monthly themes was that because I had to somehow narrow down the list, I decided to go mostly with animated movies because I did want to include a lot of illustrations and drawings, and I thought it'd make my life a bit easier doing said illustrations based on the animations rather than the real life ones. However, that being said, I do have some exceptions to the rule. For instance, one being Alice in Wonderland. I do plan to base it mostly on the Tim Burton's live action movie rather than the animated one, because unpopular opinion, I prefer the live action far more than the animated one. The animated movie creeps me out. It always has, and I probably will. However, there are 3 other movies, the Aladdin, Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, where I do plan to mix and match the live action movie with the animated ones. And for the Lion King, I was planning to mix the animated one with the Broadway illustrations. So yeah, there's that. That being said, thank you for watching. That is everything, and I'll see you next time. Bye.